All right, we're back at Dr. Serrano's, and now I had a question about estrogen.
Okay.
People are always asking, well, what's appropriate? I've got a little bit of gyno. For those of you not familiar with that slang term, it's when males get female boobies. It's very unsightly. So, can you talk a little bit about like an estrogen antagonist versus?
Absolutely. I want to talk about. They don't know. First of all, I have people that I use, testosterone, and they come here and say, I cannot get it up. Okay, these are the same people that now are using estrogen blockers. Now, there's a difference between an estrogen blocker, okay, and there's a difference between something that is called an aromatase inhibitor. They're totally different, and I don't think they're not aware of it. The people that get boobies, they usually want to block the estrogen, but the problem is that the estrogen is already there, okay, and it gets into the cell, into the receptor, and it makes your breast grow. Yes, you want to block some of it, but you do not ever, as a man, want to block your estrogen. Explain number one, if you lower your estrogen, it's very hard to get lean. People don't, that's a secret that John have used for many years. If you lower your estrogen to 0, you will not get lean. 2, it doesn't work. Forget it. You cannot get it out. So that's why you get estrogen when your testosterone levels are so high and you think that should be a bull, you're not, it's because you're blocking your estrogen. Number 3, estrogen activates brown fat or BAT, brown adipose tissue. Okay, so if you lower too low, then it doesn't use that, especially in the upper back. That's when we have the most. So I want you guys to learn the difference between a receptor blocker and I want to learn the difference between aromatase. Okay, first of all, estradiol, most people think that the testosterone goes to estradiol in great masses, but it's only about 1%. Remember that, guys. Only 1% go from testosterone to estradiol. 5% goes to DHT. I want you guys to remember that. And the other 2 I'm not going to tell you because I want to keep it for another lecture sometime. So when we have testosterone, you have high levels of testosterone, you are going to convert to estrogen because it's expected. It's 1%. So if your testosterone levels are really high and you have estrogen, there's a certain percentage that you go into the estrogen. Don't panic, don't go, oh my God, my estrogen is too high, because you have to have some. Now, people worry about it. I use the average number about 70, okay? And that will give you an idea because those guys that see numbers. If you're 70 and below, you're still okay depending on your testosterone levels. And when you start going below this, then you have to be concerned that you're taking too much of either one of, well, you have to use aromatase inhibitor. Now let me explain what one is. To convert testosterone to estrogen, I need this enzyme, aromatase. Okay? If I use an anti-aromatase inhibitor, that means I go bind to this and I don't let that happen. The only problem with that those are permanent. Meanwhile, you're taking this, that enzyme is completely killed by this drug, and you don't have no conversion. So your joints start, your elbows start. So I rarely use this. Now, tamoxifen, that's the most well-known on Norvadex, doesn't block the estrogen. What it does, it blocks the receptor when the estrogen binding there. So tamoxifen will come and bind there and prevent the estrogen receptor to come into there. Tamoxifen is a little better than the other one because it allows you, and this is the secret of direction, tamoxifen blocks the estrogen receptor. Estrogen is still present, so it's still working. Depends how much tamoxifen you take, of course, but allows to control your LH levels. When you don't have estrogen, LH levels are different. You don't get erections, so you got to be careful. So what is the right thing to do? Depends how much were you taking. Depends what your symptoms are. But if you have boobies, like John calls them, female boobies, you need to use that estrogen blocker. And by the way, there's 2 new ones coming into the market.
All right, thank you.
Okay.